Right before this season kicked off, this podcast launched on a wave of optimism. Arsenal would be lucky to leave Old Trafford with a draw. Ruben Amorim's side would be his own and start battering the opposition. And come the reverse fixture, be there or thereabouts. And soon after this, I began avoiding all news and can only assume this has come to pass. But to update us just in case, we've got Pete and Remo. We were to have an Arsenal fan on, but he can't get a connection apparently. So here we are with the Late Show. Sorry about that. Remo, 3 days in from Carrick and co, and they brought United back.
Seems so, doesn't it? It could be a false dawn.
No, they don't happen at United.
I was going to say we've had a few of them in the last 13 years. I don't know. I mean, Saturday was joyous, and you don't get, or we haven't had that many of them over the last few years. It was what Old Trafford should be about, and it was great fun. But yeah, I mean, talking to Pete before, I'm relatively confident about Sunday on the back of that, but that just shows how football fans can change at the drop of a hat. The attitude, the positivity, it's mad really when you think about it, because if we'd played Arsenal last Sunday and City tomorrow, let's say, it would be, you'd have been absolutely dreading going to Arsenal. But they are one of those teams I always feel good about playing. Just, don't know, something in my water always says we can do Arsenal. And I think we'll get a result on Sunday. Madness, probably, but I think it's, I think there was a spirit there on Saturday that there hasn't been for a while. You could see it, the celebrations, Casemiro, I know he's on his bike, but, picking Carrick up and throwing him around like a rag doll. It just felt good. And onwards and upwards at the Emirates.
Or downwards for you, Pete, in the car because Euston's closed.
Yes, I think Euston's closed. If it's not Euston that's closed, part of Milton Keynes M1 is closed and part of Northampton's M1 is closed. So it was going to be two changes to get from Manchester to London. I'm driving down. I can't take a chance. I'll just give it that. But one of those where I've got a ticket in the ballot, so happy days. I'm in the United end and really looking forward to it. The madness that Remo just talked about, I've caught that as well. For quite a few months now, I've thought I've been desperate, not really enjoying my football at Old Trafford particularly, not enjoying the football that's put on. I've long thought through all that period. I've thought this is a good team, good players playing badly. I've got in heated debates with a mate who's just saying no, he's not got the players, and it's not his fault, etc. I felt he was too rigid, far too rigid, and his rigidity, if that's the word, was stifling the creativity of United. And what it showed on Saturday when Carrick let the reins off the horses, where they ran wild and they ran well. They were brilliant. The football was in keeping fully with United's traditions of going forward with power and pace. It was great to watch. It got a great result, and I think that's where we'll go on from here. I'm not saying we'll win every game like that, but can get a top 4 finish for sure.
Oof, that's confident. If you thought Pete's travel update there was well beyond the scope of this podcast, I'm going to give you some weather as well. It's going to be miserable, apparently. It's going to just be light rain, like pretty much all day in London on Sunday. But then, like, you look at Arsenal now, they've got loads and loads of attacking options, haven't they? United put the ball in the net 5 times against City and hit the woodwork twice. Will it be raining goals at Highbury?
That's a very simple answer. I just don't think so. I think United will keep it pretty tight, as they did on Saturday. And I don't know, Arsenal just seem a bit scared to me. I wish we had the Arsenal fan on. I'd like to have got their opinion. They look like a team that's nervous. Maybe not in Europe. They seem to have walked in Europe. But I watched a bit of the game against Forest last week just because it was on. They looked nervous to me. I still think if City put 2 or 3 games together and get their form back, then they could catch them. But I think it'll be whoever stumbles over the line rather than walks it. I think there'll be 1-2 goals on Sunday, and hopefully they're all for us.
What do you think, Pete, with your vast experience, including that amazing night where it was raining goals in the 6-2?
It was, yes, it was. I mean, well, that bloody hell, that was brilliant. 6-2. That was a League Cup game, about 5th round of the League Cup in November 1990. There's a funny period between Fergie having his really bad spell, where the Sun Tosser held up a banner saying he should go, and then a bit later, Mark Robbins scored the winner at Forest, and we all lived happily ever after. We didn't. For about 18 months, it was still quite hit and miss with Fergie. But there was a couple of games where you thought, wow, if United can replicate this, we'll do all right. And if this manager can play this sort of football, we'll do all right. One of them was a win in Montpellier, our first away win in Europe for many a year. And the other one was a 6-2 win in the League Cup at Arsenal. And not just 6-2 at Highbury is good at any time, but Arsenal were on the way to winning the league that season, and they only lost one game. I know the Invincibles went for all season in 2004, but in 1990-91, Arsenal only lost one game. Didn't lose at Highbury at all, but we beat them 6-2 in the League Cup with Sharpie running wild. So it was a sign of something that was coming together there with Danny Wallace and Mark Hughes, Lee Sharp, But I'm not going with the 1-0, Remo. I'm going with 3-2 for United. So whether that's raining goals or a bit of a shower, it should be the hardest time to play Arsenal. They're top of the league, they're top of the Champions League. They're into the 1 foot in the final of the League Cup, aren't they? And they've got through the 3rd round of the FA Cup. But I think you should never underestimate Manchester United. Even under Amorim's rigid style, we still got a victory down there in the Cup 12 months ago. And we got that victory at Liverpool, and we won at City the other week. We beat City last week. And I think United could do it. I think we can do it.
Well, you sound like you want to fight, Pete. But in that United end that you're going to be in, I heard that someone I saw on social today was like talking about basically deliberately giving their ticket to a mate because they think that it's the worst United away end to be in every season. Is that something that tallies with you? Because whenever I've been down there, I've not been in the United end. I've been in what I can tell you is one of the best press boxes that you'll ever find. I'll tell you why as well. Now we've got time with no Arsenal fan. That was to be the only compliment. But is that do you find yourself maybe a bit outnumbered by sort of tourist corporate types? And I mean, London's different anyway, and London aways often have that feel. But they tell me it's this one more than any other.
I hadn't noticed it at all. I've noticed that. I can't believe folk are giving the tickets away. Bloody hell! If they are,
well, sorting a mate out was the way it was put.
Oh, I see. Yeah. London is a bit more corporate. Even Tottenham fans say that about their own new ground, which I think is a superb stadium. But there's a lot of forced selling at £200, £300, £400. I haven't noticed it particularly. At the Emirates in the United end. And when Ollie won there in the Cup a few years ago, that was superb. 6,000 singing away. Last year when we beat them in extra time or penalties after extra time, that was full of what I'd call proper Reds, lads and lasses who were United through and through. Don't see groups of tourists in there, but sometimes it's where you sit. You can be in a part where you think, blimey, this is all old fellas, or this is all kids. Maybe they've just maybe they've just watched United at Arsenal too many times. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
They the whole away end thing is obviously a matter of some debate at the moment amongst United fans. I mentioned before, I'm in a WhatsApp group with 15, 20 lads and we kind of share deadlines on applications for away, stuff like that. I think we average maybe one out of that whole group per away this season. Nobody got Arsenal. It was interesting again on the tram home on Saturday, hearing a couple of City fans bemoaning the state of their away end, and the fact that there were people there who, they would call tourists in the City away end at Old Trafford, just as we have. It's been noticed at the Etihad, it's been noticed at Anfield in recent years. Big blocks of supporters who, the good thing about social media is that people take pictures or videos of these people and whack them on there, so that even if you didn't see them in the ground, you see them after. I think the nature of following teams away has changed, and clearly clubs are making it easier to filter tickets to the wrong people. We saw that Crystal Palace sold 30 or 40 tickets direct from them from the away end to local people down there who claim to support United. But it's a dangerous game. You'll end up with problems. And obviously we had the Luke Littler thing at Wolves away, and it's good that there's still a spotlight being shone on the distribution of away tickets, because United are definitely doing something funky at the minute, which isn't unlike United in any way. So it'll be interesting to see the makeup of the away end on Sunday. I too know a few people who just can't be arsed with Arsenal and haven't done it for a while, myself included. But I also know people who are desperate to go, and obviously last weekend's result does make a big difference. You will get lads now who are willing to throw 200 or 300 quid at it and make sure they're there. That's the nature of football fans, as we alluded to earlier. A little bit of positivity goes a long way, and you tend to get people putting their hand in their pocket a bit easier, and not rightly, but they will buy it off a tout whichever way, or buy it off mates, and it'll be interesting to see.
I'll report back. I'll report back after
Thank
Sunday.
You, Pete. Yeah.
Cream of Manchester 1878 at gmail.com. If you would like to email us, we're on all the socials, so you can get in touch with us on that. People have already, and we will address those things. There's one or two that we're going to get round to. It's just that it was Arsenal, and before that it was City. There's a protest plan before the Fulham game next weekend. Likely discussion all about this next Friday, but we'll come to it briefly in a minute. I'm very interested in all your thoughts on the state of things off the pitch. This episode is sponsored by Copilot. If you are high up in the police and you're struggling to justify a ban on away supporters, simply upgrade on Microsoft and you can rely on the latest AI to invent any number of violent incidents that probably just happened in someone's imagination, or potentially a film starring one of the little lads from Lord of the Rings. In terms of our best memories that did happen then, 2009 European Cup semi-final has to be right up there, doesn't it? And I will tell you the press box. Think about that in a minute. But I had to look up that it was actually 2009 and not 2011, which was a Schalke one. I was getting them confused because I couldn't believe in the space of a year, well, United was amazing in 2008. I remember at the time that everyone thought it would be very, very, very significant that Darren Fletcher would miss the final when he got dismissed right in the last minute of that game, I think it was, or in stoppage time or something like that. And he must have become very quickly very important, because the year before, if players like Carrick was always in the team, of course, but if players like Hargreaves and Scholes were battling it out in the middle, and Hargreaves was superb the year before, he must have become really important really quickly.
Hargreaves got injured, didn't he?
Yeah, that would have been the
injury.
Was that the issue, that Fletcher was really relied upon? Anderson started that game as well, and he must have been, and he scored one of the penalties in the final the year before as well. Had he sort of started getting a bit, getting his party on by then or something? I genuinely can't remember. I thought, how did Fletcher become that important like that quickly?
No, I think
Well-
that's a good point. I mean, I never really rated Anderson that highly. I don't think anyone did that much.
Beyond the person who made that song up.
Well, quite. I met him in a club in Didsbury. I say a club, it was like one of those wanky cocktail bar things on Barlamore Road. And
he set that up, did he?
yeah,
He set the meeting up.
He absolutely stank. It was like I don't think they played that day, but he absolutely kiffed. He was a very, very smelly man. I don't know what his hygiene was like in and around the changing room, but he was. I remember thinking, God, I don't mind the footballers. I never have. He was just stood close to me because everyone was stood close to each other in that place. It was tiny. And yeah, he just really kiffed, and I felt bad for him.
This is the point where I wish we had a Patreon only subscribers bit, because I think I might, for general consumption, at the very least, I'll be consulting my McNay's Essential Law for Journalists to see if I can keep that in.
I never expected. And when I signed up for this, I never expected such insight, Remo.
Well, you misread the communication. That's what we're here for. It's just that I don't know if it breaches the legality.
Just going back to Darren Fletcher.
Yes,
so
please do.
What had happened briefly, really, is space of a few years. I mean, I think when we got to 2009, that was the best United team that I've ever seen. Probably the best United team in our history. From say 2008. 07, 08, 09. I think it reached a peak that we've never got back to, and that surpassed
I never knew you remembered the Charlie Roberts-inspired FA Cup and FA Cup and league wins. Going off about Billy Meredith.
When you sent me a note before, said, "Can you do 1930?" I didn't realise you meant the time. I thought you were talking about a visit to Highbury. I thought, the cheeky bastard. Anyway, so Roy Keane had just gone, if you recall, 05. United struggled for a couple of years to replace him. Never did replace him until we got Carrick and Hargreaves, I think. That was around 07, 08. But as Remo says, Hargreaves' last game of any notes was the European Cup final in Moscow. So we'd lost those two players. We'd lost Keane as well. Scholes was only about a year or two off retiring, if you remember, before he then came back.
The first time, yeah.
So, but on the positive side, on the pull side, Fletcher was a very good player, very useful player. Came into his own, really. He'd been overshadowed by greatness, but he forged his way in, I think. And yeah, I wished he'd have played in that final in 2009.
Yeah, I think we all do. What a grim experience it ended up being. At least we got a drink anyway. Persuaded people to let it in the back of a pub in Rome. Any other business, gents? You both think United will win then, and I don't. I think it'll be either 1-1 or 2-1 to Arsenal. But I admire your confidence, and I do agree that it is exactly the nature of football fans to get one good result and decide that's it forever.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's not going to just be Arsenal. It's what is this? 16 games left of Summit now. If he's going to have a right go at Carrick, so are the players. All he's got to do is let them off the not just. I don't mean play it like Keegan did in the 90s, but I just mean go forward. They've got players there, a variety of players that are good going forward, not this over intricate passing getting up the field. There's very few teams could live with us. And I couldn't understand for a long time, lads, why the likes of Mainu and Maguire were left out of that side. When they've played at Anfield recently and last week, they've been absolute stalwarts, and I think Carrick will carry on playing them, and hope he carries on playing them. And you can't put all that experience into the youth of Yoro and the other young lads there away.
Yeah.
You've got to bring it in gradually. The class of '92 didn't all come in at once. It was like a grafting skin on,
So here's a question for you then, Pete. We get into, I don't know, we finish 3rd or 4th this season. And I'll ask you now, so you can brew on it, but I want your answer now. We come 3rd this season. does Carrick keep the job?
Yes. Okay. Well, of course, it
I just
depends
wanted
what sort
one
of...
word answer. That's fine.
All right. It's
I
still
think it'll be
yes.
very interesting. Yeah, I think it'll be. I think that's a question we should keep going until the end of the season, because I think it's going to be fascinating. There's obviously the once bitten, twice shy with Solskjaer potentially. He came in as an interim, did really well, and they gave him the job. I think Carrick's possibly got a bit more about him, but I'm yet to be convinced. I know there's rumblings about Enrique. I don't want Glasner, for God's sake.
You don't want
But
Southgate.
if there's a God no.
Pete had
I
already
don't know.
got his waistcoat ready.
I don't know. I think it's very interesting, and I think it's something we should keep as a theme going through the rest of the season. Because especially if we're doing all right, there will be inevitably the kind of groundswell of keep him. But it's still a way bigger job than he's ever had experience of before. Don't know if that matters.
It would normally, I think, Remo, but he knows the club inside out, and he was part of that great team between 07 and 20. Well, when did he play till 2016? He played in the Europa League final, didn't he? 2017. Wasn't that towards the end of his playing career?
I can't remember, but I can quickly Google it. I would say, lads, though, as well, don't underestimate the importance of Steve Holland, because it's really important to have the proper coaches. And if he's come through a system like he did at United, where you had an actual manager who was overseeing the state of the players and the club and the recruitment more than Amorim seems to have been able to do, that I do think it's really important that you. I just have a theory that it's that the teams, the squads now, which is everyone's learned from the European model because they've got European owners and European management, and that means that what's now the head coach, used to be the manager, is a smaller part of a bigger machine and a less important one, and one who's more like easy to replace. And so this is part of the cycle. Plus you've got someone above you who can always undermine you to the board because they're going between. I think it's a really difficult structure to get right. So yeah. I've kind of got a theory that the way Ferguson had it, where he wasn't really doing much coaching, and I think Solskjaer did this as well, you're not seeing the players all the time. They're not going to get bored of listening to you as much, and it'll matter if you turn up and watch them, whether it's a reserve game, a youth team, or first team training. I think that the brevity of contact can be a very, very good tool, and I think that probably Carrick knows a thing or two about that. And you seem to have a guy like Steve Holland, who I've never ever seen him interviewed, even though he's been in all these top jobs. So. I would say like the coaching stuff are always massively underplayed, whereas they might be a really important part of the setup. Now I'll Google it while you have final thoughts on that. I want to ask you about the protest again, just in case, Remo. I know did you do something on the? Oh, it wasn't that one. It was the one where it was the shenanigans before the Liverpool game, wasn't it? What I want to ask you what your thoughts are on the protest brackets general, and because there was quite a few, and then they've died a death, and now there seems to be more reason to protest than probably ever, really.
Well, yeah, but is that just because we've lost another manager and we're a bit shit? I don't go with it, Andy. I just find it very, it doesn't sit right with me. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It's there's times to protest, as when maybe the ticket, if there's an announcement about ticket prices for next season, which doubtless will go up another couple of quid a ticket. That's the time to protest, not some half-arsed stuff about full sale only. Or I saw a terrible one in the Stretford End last week on your bike, Ineos and Glazers, and they'd put an apostrophe between the Y and the ER on your bike. And I, honest to God, if I'd had a lighter, I'd have set fire to it. You're just like, what? I mean, I know "year" is obviously a shortening of "your," but Christ, think about your standard basic English grammar, lads. I'm not having it. I'm sorry.
I agree with you about the grammar. I was told when I was a young lad that good grammar is the difference between knowing your shit and knowing your shit.
What a lovely place to end it, except to say that Carrick did not start, but he was on the bench in the 2017 Europa League final, along with Wayne Rooney and David De Gea, among others. So, yeah, I had forgotten that detail as well. I had completely forgotten that detail. But then we got burgled that morning, so very early that morning. And I had I was still trying to go to Stockholm right until the day before, and I had a massive amount of work on for my last post-grad deadline. And I never finished it. I thought, if I finish it on the Sunday or the Monday, I'm going. And I just couldn't get it done. So by the Tuesday night, I knew I wasn't going. And then I'm guessing that must, if the game was Wednesday. And then Wednesday night, I worked right up until 4. I was going to meet the lads to watch it in Eccles. And I came down and went, where's the car? And we'd not realised all day we'd been burgled. Horrible. But anyway, United won and that turned it round. Sorry to end it like that. I was just trying to stop Pete reminiscing about Herbert Chapman. Anyway, on Sunday we will find out if United will achieve another improbable win that would actually help Manchester City, or will Pete have to paint another banner with 3 hours of excuses and it's still crap? Tara Carrick. Either way, January is nearly done, lads. Let's get drunk, mind the trams.